Size matters, but at least in which framework is better to build our web applications. In today's episode, we are going to make a comparison between the frameworks Astro and Nextjs. In today's comparison, we are not talking about the maybe development experience because Astro and Nextjs are pretty different. We are going to compare about the size bundle and how much information we are sending to our users in a production environment. This video is thanks to my own experience because a few days ago I tried to deploy an Linktree clone inside quotation marks that at the beginning used Nextjs, and as I am using the AWS platform to develop my application, I noticed for each request I sent like 2 megabytes per request. Maybe for you is a little bit, it's not much, but imagine for a second try to make 500, 1000 requests per second. In a few seconds we are going to use like 1 gigabyte or more, and if you know how to use platforms as a service, you know that if you spend a lot of resource, they are gonna share you a lot of money. So the idea is to make our application cheapest, and in my case I noticed that and I say, okay, let's try with Astro. And Astro I noticed like 200% less. And before you tell me, Chris, that is pretty obvious, Astro is not the same like Nextjs. Yeah, you're right. But the idea is not just to talk about that. The idea is notice what technical difference are between them. It's like, okay, yeah, I already know Astro is for static websites and Nextjs is for dynamic websites, but both works in the same way. You can create web application using both ways. So maybe I can create a Linktree clone using Astro or using Nextjs, and in both the scenarios it's possible, but in both the scenarios won't be the best option, one of them. So the idea is dive into the reasons why in this scenario is not better use Nextjs than Astro. So first of all, let's talk about the basic configuration. I just create 2 projects using the official npm commands. In Astro, I had to install and configure Tailwind CSS because in production environment I use Tailwind, and also because Nextjs by default install Tailwind. So we have just right there 1 page in both the scenarios, the styles file, and the package just right there. And in the Nextjs, the same thing in the package.json. As you can see, we are using 15 and the release candidate about React. I don't know why Vercel teams believe the things is a good idea use the release candidate. I don't know, it's better use the final version. But yeah, some of you guys, as me, maybe in a few days we have troubles using ChatCN, but I'm going to leave that to another video. So once we already discussed about this basic configuration, let's start with the basic development environment to watch out the difference between maybe the size and how to know where we have to check that information. So let's use npm run dev in the next application, and the other hand we have the Astro, the same thing. So go back to our page and just reload this and reload this one. First of all, you see that we have a lot of content, but just ignore the fact about that because it's just related with basic development tools. This package won't be the same once we develop our application in both the scenarios as Astro or Nextjs. But I want you to notice just right there in the below section about Astro and the Nextjs. Oh, okay, there's the same. And as you can see, Astro, for example, performed 40 requests. And maybe I want you to notice the difference between the transfer size and the total size. The transfer size is the most important measure we have to handle it because these tell us how much information the server are sending to the user. Well, the server is sending to the user. In this case, we are using 12 kilobytes, but in total is almost 2 megabytes. Why is different? Because server, depending on the framework, we used to make optimizations, just compress the files, and after the client receive that file, just uncompress and use the total. That's nice because allows to companies just to send small bundles and well use less bandwidth of the servers where the application are deployed. And also have the same with the Next.js. In this case we use 20 requests, almost 500 kilobytes and almost 2.5 megabytes in total. Now I want you to notice the difference between that both the scenarios, but using the production mode, or the production version. The way we can use that is, we have to notice or know the difference between the development version and the deploy or production version, because in our development environment we have two different commands. We have dev, build, and start. Use dev always when meanwhile you are develop something, but once you are going to deploy your application, first of all you have to compile or transpile using build, and to run that compile application ready to production, use start. That happens in Nextjs. In the other hand, in Astro we have to run build, but we have to use preview because as you can see start has the same purpose as dev. So let's execute both commands, and in case of Astro we have to use npm run build and npm run preview, and in Nextjs we have to use npm run build and literally and npm run start. So as you can see, maybe Astro it's a little bit faster, but it's pretty obvious because Astro handles static applications and it's faster than a Next.js application, because Next.js has to pre-compile some pages, implement how can I say this, interaction and more. So it's pretty more complex. But once we have the final page, let's see the important information. Let me increase the size on both, and let's reload again once more time. And as you can see, if we are talking about first of all, I want to remember to you that we are using the same application. We have the same page, the same content, but below different tools. Already compiled tools. In the left hand we have Astro, in the right hand we have Nextjs. It's important to make the hint that if we are using, or we are going to use a static application, Astro is the best, and if we are going to use dynamic application, Nextjs is the best. In this case, we have a static application, so Astro has to be the best in this task, and maybe Nextjs can make the same because both tools make the same operation, but in this case, Nextjs will be the same task, but maybe in a slower way than Astro, or in a less productive and efficient way than Astro. So as you can see, this web page is literally instant, and well, in the case of Nextjs, maybe happens the same, but as you can see in Astro, we only have the plain HTML, we have the plain CSS and the favicon, the icon of the web page, and as you can see, we only transfer almost 500 bytes. We are not talking about kilobytes. Remember that we have bytes, and after that we have kilobytes. 1 kilobyte is 1000 bytes, and after kilobytes we have megabytes, and to have 1 megabyte we need 1000 kilobytes. That means that 1 megabyte is around 100,000 bytes. So make the difference between both of them, because if we have we are talking about just right there about bytes, and once we use Nextjs, we are using in the compress or optimized transfer version, we are using in the Nextjs almost 25 kilobytes just compress, then almost 500 bytes compress, because after you decompress this, you see the total web page size is 6 kilobytes. In the other hand, we have this one, and the total is almost half a megabyte. That means 522 kilobytes. So it's pretty nice to notice this difference, because yeah, you can make the same application using both tools, but these tools are made with different purposes, and depending on the context, one tool is better than other. That doesn't matter, because yeah, with Astro and with Nextjs you can create the same thing, but it's the same thing that, I don't know, you can write with a pen, or you can write with a rock. You can perform the same action or the same thing or the same task, but one is better than other. So depending the application is also, well, be aware, no, be worried about, well, yeah, the advantages and disadvantages depending on. But yeah, the general rule is, if you are going to create a static web application, use Astro, and if you are going to create some dynamic, make a lot of requests, make user interface that change constantly, or yeah, change each time, yeah, the better option is Nextjs. And maybe this is so interesting because yeah, once you deploy each application are going to use different amount of resource. So I hope this video was helpful, and I see you in the next time. Bye bye.